It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, the Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. I welcome the podcast where me, the Captain, talks about movies, TV, sports, flicks, anything you can see on the tuber screen. I like to get in here and give my unique perspective, because after 47 years of being on planet Earth, I've developed a unique perspective about these movies, TV, sports, and flicks, and I like to get in and tell about it, because just maybe you care. And according to the stats, it looks like you do care. I want to give a big shout out to Puerto Rico. Got some plays over in Puerto Rico this past week. Gracias, gratitude, todo reba. In Puerto Rico, I've always wanted to take a vacation there. It's just your island is so beautiful. It's a beautiful place. The culture, bro. It's so fantastic. I've always wanted to take a vacation there. So one of these days, I'm going to hop on a plane and I'm going to fly to Puerto Rico. I'm going to chill, relax, have some cuisine, chill on the beach, maybe meet some fly Puerto Rican honeys. We'll see. So anyways, thanks for listening. Gracias, gratitude. And just FYI, back in the day with School Bay Radio DJ, but never got a job. I think I never got a job because I just didn't take enough vacations. If I would have took more vacations, maybe I would have been better rested, which would allow me to become a radio DJ. But I didn't. And it allowed me to become the greatest podcaster in the Matrix. Something to debate might be true, might not be true. But I said it on the internet. So it's gotta be true, right? Because everything on the internet is facts, not facts, true, false, propaganda, fake news, the Matrix, computers, tablets, phones, microphones, headphones, earbuds, cream cheese. I don't know. I didn't make the internet. Ask the people that made the internet. So when you're online, just be aware, just watch out. Anyways, I can ramble all day, but I won't. Let's get right to the podcast. But first, a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, do you listen to rap, hip-hop? You might. Well, if you do, I bet you I got something for you that you've never heard before. Do you want to hear something that's just completely madness? It's sonic madness. It's madness on wax. It's going to be the craziest, strangest, most maddening hip-hop you ever heard. Well, if you do want to hear something like that, SonZu Cosmic, friend of the podcast, just dropped a new album called Yogi. And it is madness, bro. It's so maddening. So yeah, if you want to hear madness on wax, listen to the new album Yogi by SonZu Cosmic. I'll put a link below. Check it out. Now, let's get on with the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back again. Oh, and guess what? I was triggered today. I was triggered, bro. It's real. You might think the Captain is too awesome to be triggered, but let's be completely real. I'm real on this podcast. It's the real talk. Occasionally, I do get triggered. It happens. It happens to the best of us. These people walking around the planet Earth, they might act like they don't get triggered, but it happens to a lot of people, bro. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them looks fool you. Don't let how their face looks or their body looks or how they talk or fancy this and that. It happens to everybody. We're all human beings. A lot of people get it. They act like they don't, but they do. So anyways, I was triggered. So yeah, I dealt with that. And you've probably experienced that, right? So I got a question for you. When you're triggered, what move are you making afterwards? You get triggered, what do you do? What move choice do you make? Now, I know a lot of people would choose to soothe. And soothe in ways that are probably not the best. Hey, I was triggered. Let me get a cold one. Don't disrespect if you had a cold one, man, but yeah, sometimes you're triggered. Let me get a cold one. Oh, let me do some smoking. Let me smoke some of that. You know what I'm doing? Smoke some of that. Or let me go binge eat or whatever. There's a lot of ways to handle it. A lot of ways people deal with the triggering. But after the triggering, where do you choose to take your mind? Where do you choose to go? This is very key. So let's say you're triggered, bro. In that moment, after the triggering, Where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you spending your time? What are you thinking about? What choice are you making after that? Right? This is a very important moment in time. So, because triggering will happen probably again and again and again. I put in a lot of work. The captain is the best version of himself he's ever been. And still occasionally triggering happens. Right? You look at me, see me like, yeah, the captain's a bad dude. There's some truth to that. But even that being said, triggering still happens. And so what choice do you make in that moment? So if you're out there in podcast land, or out there in the universe, out in the world, in that moment after the triggering, where are you going mentally? Where are you taking your mind? What kind of physical activity doing? You smoking some squares? You vaping? You doing that? I don't endorse that. I don't think that's the best choice to be made. But are you doing that? Maybe you are. Maybe it's time to make a more powerful choice. Right? In that moment after triggering, make a powerful choice. Hit the gym, do some working out, do some bag work, do some meditation, do some creative writing, do some art, read some books, change your mindset, change your life. That's what I think should get done. Maybe it's not. Maybe getting a cold one's the way to go. But the captain chooses to make powerful moves after the triggering. And if you make powerful moves after triggering, it'll become habitual. So every time it gets triggered, you just go harder, bro. Like all that does is make you go harder. You'll be like the Hulk. You know, when the Hulk gets mad, he just gets stronger. That's what's going to happen to you. It's like, I'm triggered. Now I'm getting stronger, bro. When I get triggered, I get stronger. Let's make that happen. We about to expand the minds of this podcast, right? So all you guys out podcast land, if you get triggered, we get triggered, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be the Hulk and we're going to get stronger. Let's do that. I think that's the way to go, right? We're going to be empowered, not disempowered. This is the mentality. This is the shift. Change your mentality. Change your reality. Maybe. Is there some truth to that? I don't know. All I know is I got triggered, bro. It happened. And I chose a powerful choice. So let's do that. Let's focus on that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Choice is yours. So anyways, I got triggered. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Now, it's time to talk about my favorite franchise in the universe. My favorite character in the universe. And if you listen to these podcasts before, you know who I'm talking about. You know who my favorite guy is. You know what my favorite entertainment property is. You know what it is. But if you don't know, let me tell you what it is. My favorite IP, fandom, in the whole universe is the one and only Star Trek. And this week, I got to watch Star Trek Picard. 17 seconds. And before I get into it, a couple things. First of all, there will be spoilers. And second of all, I do own some shares in the parent company Star Trek. Just wanted to make you aware and be clear to let you know that. So it is now that I told you that, let's get right into Star Trek Picard. 17 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode was absolutely fantastic, magnificent. We got to see how tight the relationship is between Riker and Picard. They're very close. Now, after TNG ended, the series and the movies ended, I kind of knew that already. They didn't really show it. You didn't really see it a lot. But, when the Picard series started, we kind of got to see hints of they've remained close over time. They stayed, close, like brothers or like father-son or like whatever. Like very familiar relationship. And so they've grown tight. They've grown close. But like anybody else that's close and tight, you know what happens sometimes, right? I've experienced this firsthand. Like when you're close and tight with someone, and you're close, it's something about being close and tight with someone just allows for more of this to happen. And when you're very close and tight, there will be arguments. And sometimes more heated arguments. Someone you don't know, you don't really do that with. But when you know someone pretty well, they feel okay going there. And sometimes some of these arguments can be heated. Now in my more enlightened state that I am in now, I'm more calm, relaxed. I don't really get there as much as I used to. But even that being said, there's still moments of time where people I'm closer with. And sometimes there might be a little bit of friction. It happens. And in this episode, 17 seconds, yeah, we saw Picard and Riker argue. I think that might be the first time I've ever seen them argue. It wasn't a little calm argument. It was a pretty big, explosive argument. I'm like, man. And then also, too, like, Captain Riker, talk to Admiral Jean-Luc Picard in a way that they've never done before. He was the person in the position of power, and Picard was his subordinate. Now, in this particular episode, it kind of is that way because Riker is made the captain of the Titan. Picard is playing the number 1 role. And Riker got a little aggressive with him. I couldn't believe he went there. But I think because you're so close that, sometimes that happens. When you're close, you kind of feel comfortable doing that. I have conversations with my family members as of late. Sometimes the other family member will get a little heated, little raise the voice, a little aggressive, little angry, not angry, but a little aggressive, a little heated. It happens. Now that I'm a calmer version of myself, I don't really respond to it in that way. But rewind the clock about 8-9 years ago, very close family members that I would communicate with. Yeah, sometimes those conversations get a little heated. Certain reason a little tish down hand and meditate a lot. It's kind of, don't do that as much. But back in the day, I might have a Picard Riker experience like they showed in the show. Yeah, for sure. But anyways, it just was interesting to see that. Like, wow. Like, I couldn't believe that. It's craziness. Yeah. So, it happens with any family. I mean, that's what happens. And I'm sure in the next couple episodes, they'll make up because that's what families do. You may get an argument to be heated, but they'll be making up. So anyways, yeah, that was some craziness. And also in the episode, Riker told the story of his kid being born and the moment that he became a father. Like there was like 17 seconds of a walk from the bridge to where his baby was being born, where he was so concerned about the life of his kid. At that moment, he became a father. So I don't have kids. I don't have kids like that, but I do know the feeling of a family member you care deeply about having a possible traumatic life and death experience, and having that worry, like this person I care about so much could die. You know what I mean? Could lose this person. Like I felt that a few times. And unfortunately, in my experience, they did end up passing away, which was horrible. But that moment of time where you're so concerned about that loved one, like, oh man, it's tough. And in this story, they tell about how he walked from the bridge to the medical bay, whatever, where his kid was being born, how he felt that. And he said, in that moment in time there, I became a father. Interesting enough, Picard has the same experience in the show as well, because in the present, his son Jack Crusher almost dies as well, and he has to walk from the bridge to the medical bay. And he has that same moment where, like, his son could possibly be dying here, and whatever goes through your head and being a father, he has that moment. Like I said, I don't have kids. I have no kids. I'm a daughter. I have a son. None of that. So I don't really know that. But I can what I went through with my family member, I can kind of maybe understand it a little bit. But that's just the power of caring about someone so much, to have so much care for another human being, right? And I've definitely felt that, and it's a very powerful, a great experience to be in. But also, it can be a very emotional state as well. Watching Picard this season is making me think, like, man, maybe I should have some kids. Like, I'm 47, and I'm thinking, like, man, maybe I should make some moves to maybe try to expand this captain's family. But maybe the captain needs a child. I never really give it a lot of thought at all. But they're just showcasing this season, like, the father-son thing. And just like, maybe that's something that I should experience. I don't know. I'm not sure. Can you imagine the captain having a kid? Like, what do you think I'd name my kid if I had a kid? If I had a kid, what do you think? I'll tell you what, I had a conversation with a nice young lady a couple weeks ago. We were talking about that. And she asked, what would you name your kid, Captain? And I told that lady, and I'm being completely serious here. I'm being completely honest. This is my real thought. I'm not just saying it for podcast. I really said this to this lady. I'm telling her, this is a true story. I told her that I would name my son Jean-Luc. I'm not lying. It's facts. It is true. That is how much I adore that character. So much. So back in the day, people naming kids over athletes and all this different thing. Like I really told that lady that, and I was dead serious. And if somehow, some way, me and this lady said, "Hey, let's just have a kid," I'm like, "All right, let's do it. Let's have a kid, and I'm gonna name this baby Jean-Luc." I know. You probably like, "You're crazy, bro. Don't do that." Hey, it's my life. Let me do what I want to do. So anyways, this season is fantastic. It's exploring the human element like they always do. It's making me think, should I have kids or not? I mean, Star Trek just keeps on bringing it, whether it's Discovery or Lower Decks or Strange New Worlds or Prodigy. My mind is always thinking, feeling, emotions. It's just, I love Star Trek so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so great. It's just I'm a fan for life. Yeah, great episode. So anyways, yeah, Star Trek Picard. 17 seconds, fantastic episode. And this concludes the podcast. And until next time, we'll see you. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through, or work around. Until next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks Flicks.